Nice. Thanks for calling in. How can I help you or not help you today?
Well, somehow I'm like following you a couple of years, maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
Um, of course, you can say accidentally, but there is no accidents. Um, Around maybe 4 or 5 years, something happened, and I discovered like Muji's pointing and
Yeah.
Papaji's pointing,
Yeah.
Ramana's pointing,
Yeah.
and so this morning. I would like just to jump in straight and avoid too much personal story.
Yeah.
But I will try to do it as I feel now. So something like happened that I can say the gap in consciousness that when I first time realized I can like see or hear or be aware of my thoughts, emotions, the energies inside the body, or that voice inside our head or wherever you want. And that was so huge, like the biggest thing in my life. Like it was like how you say, like a game changer to me. Like,
Mm.
wow, nothing was the same again. And then feeling the being able, or I don't know, that's kind of a. It's not that I can say I did that. I don't want to take any like credits for this, like just be able to be silent, and discovering that beautiful silence in me was the, I think I cannot even describe, maybe the most like beautiful thing what I have ever experienced. And like only sitting in the feeling of I am, like you said, like
Mm.
this intuitive feeling of just being here, like now,
Mm.
fully empty and fully present. um, so that was like the beginning of I don't know how and what to say. So the whole life I was somehow thinking like it was like, who am I?
Mm.
What is this all about here? And seeking having an inner spark for life. And I had a lot of drives, like in sports and in different hobbies, so full of life, I can say, and trying to find something that can fulfill me fully.
Mm.
Because I was always like trying to get somewhere, which really I got there, and then you felt that fulfillment, wow! But then it was like something is always missing, and I
Mm.
was like seeking something, you
Mm.
know. Like Ramana said that like you are trying to get somewhere, and basically when you like get it, then you feel the relief actually, and then you feel the emptiness.
Mm.
And it's only the absence of the thoughts and all of this striving that makes you really fulfillment, like.
Mm.
And so it looked like and everything started to go in a beautiful flow in the life. And you can say, and then I started to really from the, if I can really say, I have to explain somehow. Yeah, had let's say big challenges in relationship all around, like in my life, huh? And somehow for me it was really tough. Like all of at one moment arrived in so many things to me, but in another way it kept me going even more inside me, even more inside me. So. And the point where I'm coming now, what I really wanted to look with you, that you helped me a little bit to look and maybe go even deeper, is even from the Muji's pointing and hearing you so straight this day, when I just accidentally saw your face and you were saying like, well, you don't exist. Wow, bam, 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 poof, so clean, so strong. So because I really felt the truth in you, and really that was, for me, that was like really striking somewhere very deep. And I always hear this question like, can the seer be seen? Can the perceiver of everything be perceived? So when I'm sitting like silently and going in and being aware, as already mentioned, of my thoughts, my emotions, my body, my even I started not to feel the body anymore, the complete silence. I tried to find the one who can see everything. So in this trying, like somebody is trying, I cannot find anybody. So everything settles down. And there is just this. And that was so clear for me, and it is still clear for me. But somehow it looks like that really this person is even more, I don't know, fine and thin and hiding or something, because I was still like
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt you? I get a little bit concerned about other people and whether or not you're going to get to a question soon. Like,
okay,
good. Just because
so,
the story I think's been quite long, but I'm not sure about time because I was listening. But I just get concerned other people will be sitting there like, dum, dum, dum. Yeah.
So you said this morning, the awakening or the enlightenment or is not for the person. So even though I can feel this, what I told you, I felt like unpeace and I felt like something is here missing and going there. You said immersion, like immerse, and that somehow you disappear. And I felt that by doing the things also in my life. And it looked like, Lisa, that I was still all the time in that person.
I think I'm finding. Sorry, I blamed other people earlier, saying that I'm concerned about other people. I think I'm finding this a bit big. Like, is there a possibility that you could just like narrow it down a little bit for me, like to what you actually mean? Like not but just not as in like longer explanation, but just like get to the point a bit, like so, like be a bit more direct, please. Otherwise it's a bit too big because we've had like the whole story and then the question, it's too much for me. And I'm sorry that I blamed other people earlier. It's just about me. It's always about you.
Thanks, I'm also learning. I'm sorry if I took anybody's time.
Yeah, so, that's okay. So just to the point, if you could, please.
The point is, everything looks so clear to me and I was still suffering. The question is, even I go so deep and feel like I'm nothing, I'm still like, it looks like going in, coming back. So what is, you said there is nothing to do, or there is something to do? It's the same thing. Is there anything that you can recommend? And in the morning, it clicked to me that actually it's already this, but I have now no words to say anymore. So I can say, thank you.
Yeah.
And maybe a comment or two. So there is not more. And I was thinking, am I still in the person somehow? Because I still sometimes suffer. I go back in the sometimes the thoughts pull me back into the
so let's just this is getting a bit much for me again. So let's just go back a bit. So what I hear you saying is like that you're going in and out of freedom and then suffering and then freedom as suffering, and basically there's a question arising in you, is what is it that you can do to maybe end it or something along these lines? Is that
yes, bottom line?
Okay.
Yes.
So if we could just stop there and just let me answer that. Otherwise this is like becoming like a marathon for me to try to answer. Like it's too much, if you don't mind. And then you can ask more after, like you've just given me some space to say something about that. And then if there's something else that comes up, like, or something else that you feels like not complete, otherwise it's too big. Like if you can imagine it being the other way around and someone coming with a question, it's like if something is too big, it's actually an interesting psychological thing, because if somebody comes with like a really big question like that with lots of words, it actually, what it does is it's very confusing. So then it kind of like stops the person that's answering getting to a point. So it's kind of like, it's an interesting like psychological dynamic, because in one way you could say it's maybe some form of protection, like you're trying to protect yourself because maybe unconsciously, and I don't know if this is true about you, but I just open it up to other people to look in themselves, maybe there is a part that doesn't actually want an answer. So that's an interesting thing. But just let me answer what I think that your question's about, and then we can like get into a conversation a bit about it. Otherwise, it's just too big. Like I'm like lost in a massive sea of words, if you don't mind. I hope that's okay for you, and I'm not being too honest. Okay, so what happens, and maybe this is going to be painful for you, because maybe you'll find this patronizing, but let's just give it a go and see what happens, because maybe it's an energetic exchange. Is that our mind likes to have a talk. It likes to talk to us. So like the mind likes to have a narrative, and these narratives are karmic. So they come from our family line and all of history, of human history. And then they're also what's happened in this life, which you could also say is karmic. So what your body's been exposed to. So there's these two different things that happen. And then these different things that happen to the body mind, the genetics, the karmic of previous lives, and then what happens in this life, give us certain narratives. And everybody has like a unique narrative that goes with their body. So you'll get some people that have very high self-esteem, but deep down feel insecure. You get some people that are very needy of other people's attention. You get some people that are very independent and very work focused. You get all arrays of different people and the way that they're coping with this thing called life and interacting with life. And then we have this internal narrative that we're telling ourselves. So currently, at the moment, your internal narrative is telling you that you've arrived somewhere and then you lose that. You arrive somewhere and you lose that. And then there is some part in you that believes that, like puts energy into that I arrive and then I lose it. I arrive and then I lose it. And that story, if we took it out of spirituality, that story could also be indicative of a relationship. I'm in love, I'm out of love. I have them, I don't have them. Also could be a narrative of the way that we relate to money. And the trick to it is that any narrative that we're telling ourselves isn't truth. Some of the narrative is important for us to navigate our life, but it isn't truth. So whatever your mind is telling you about your spiritual experiences, I would suggest what's that word? Like it has the flavor of what your life narrative is. And just see it for that. Just look at it and see that at the moment you have a narrative that you're going in and out of non-duality. And then maybe you have a narrative of feeling afraid of that. And maybe you have a narrative of wanting a way to control that. And wanting the next step. But just see it all as that narrative that's appearing in consciousness, in this space. And yes, there is something deeper than watching you. There is a total emergence into everything, and there's no longer this separation of watching you. So that is a stage, but it doesn't mean that you then have to believe in what the mind is narrating to you, that have or haven't made it, whether you've got it or that you've lost it. It's just seeing everything my mind tells me isn't truth about the experience. Some of what my mind tells me is helping me, and a lot of it is useless. If it repeats itself, then it tends to be useless. Like what is important is this moment, is this beingness that's right here, right now. this sense of I amness and this empty looking. This is what's important. And then the mind starts talking about where you are, what you need to be, what you need to do. And then if there's anything that I would suggest to do, is it's moving your attention back to what's actually happening. And just becoming conscious of the feelings in the body. So if you've got a particular narrative that you're going to make, you're not going to make it, or that you can't make it, or that you're losing something, relate it back to what's happening in your body. Become conscious of the body. Those are the two things. But in suggesting doing that, I'm not actually validating that there is someone in there doing it. It's just something I suggest, and if it's done, it's done. If it's not, it's not. It's a life, a happening. You think, I've got the free will to do what Lisa says, but who is this one that's got the free will? That one that's saying that is an appearance that's happening. It's a narrative that's happening. And they say, like scientists say, that that narrative comes 6 seconds after the choice has been made. Like there really isn't anyone in control. Life is a happening. But I say that, and then maybe next time the mind will move itself away from those thoughts and see, this isn't true. This isn't true. What is true is what's happening. The I amness and the empty looking, that's what's true. But now I give it back to you. Now you can speak again. I hope you feel comfortable too, that I didn't shock you too much with what I said last time.
No, Lisa, it was perfect. I closed my eyes and I was just feeling and listening, and I'm completely grateful on every word.
Nice.
Yes, that narration, that always trying to explain something or understand something. This is what's really present, and then just keep quiet. That helps me, and in the end effect, it looks like this is somewhere where something in me obviously had to stick on this, like keeping quiet.
Yeah, and there's something that believes that there is something you're missing, and all of this is karmic. So this will have been in your story in the past. Like, so our stories that we tell ourselves are karmic, they're circular, and we'll all have tendencies towards particular stories. So it's just noticing that. Like, I have karmic stories. Like, so my story tends to, because of my dyslexia and the way that I was brought up, it tends to veer towards thinking that other people know better. Like, so we all have these karmic stories, and it's really seeing that they are just stories of the body and then they're not true. So, you know, like a karmic story that could play out in me, and maybe has played out in me, is maybe that other teachers know better than me, or that I don't know enough as a teacher or something, or I don't know enough. Like, this could be a karmic story that would play in me, like, because of that. Like, and it's just seeing that none of it's true.
So just stay strong in the presence, and just don't listen to the voice somehow like this. We put it in a simple words, whatever happens.
And knowing also that the one that's saying strong is an appearance, but that's perfect, and that's what's happening, and that who you are is experiencing it all, and that at some point there would just be this natural organic shift to that, and it won't keep fluctuating in and out and in and out.
Yeah, completely. That your words explain like situation in me, which I can say is developing in the more better way.
Yeah.
So I have to say the word in this non-duality, so we can only keep quiet, and it's fine. But the challenges are coming, and it's coming and going, and I have no more words, really. Thank you.
Yeah, always pleasure. Thank you so much for calling in and being prepared to share and expose yourself. I really appreciate it.
I took some time. It was my first time, and sorry if I took too much time.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
And I'm really grateful, and I'm sending a lot of love to you and to everybody who is here.
Thanks, Martin. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye. Oh, nice.